Vapor. Yes. Miss Pop Gun. Epic Pikachu. Welcome in here. No high-level teams are recruiting. Well, just have to make a... Pickup that turns into a project that turns into a team that gets banned. Hello, Ferrari kid. These kids should be driving Ferraris. There, is that better? And this pop gun. All I gotta do is say hello to you. Hey, whatever it is that you get. Okay, now people in the Discord are complaining the music's loud. To be fair, I don't have my headphones on right now. Because my Bluetooth is broken, or just doesn't work on my computer anymore. Like, I followed every YouTube video that says, here's how you fix your Bluetooth, and none of them work. So I gotta use this wired one instead of the actual headphones that I have. They're Bluetooth and super nice, so I refuse to wear those unless I absolutely have to. Much better. Cool. Hello, Neto, Niato. Popular. You're on Aquatic Vanguard. One of the more popular teams in the universe. As far as I'm concerned. Hello, Falco. I missed. Actually, I should just keep that like that. Make sure you guys check out Friday Night Frenzy tonight, because it's Friday It's Friday. Going to your mom's house on Friday. WFH today? What is that? World Food Hunger Day? Oh, working from home. Lucky. Alright, lucky ducky. I think this works. Unless it doesn't. We gotta update a lot of things here. Behind the scenes, today is the 22nd. It's the 79th episode. I can't believe I've been doing this long. I think we'll hit 100 and then we'll call it. We'll stop there. Luti. Thank you for the follow. I'm glad me doing this stuff late is what makes you want to follow me. Remember, kids, always get your work done before the stream starts. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify. While you're calculating your comps for the $20 Splatoon Spawn Point tournament, ordering your tickets to watch the new movie Last Night in Solo, spreading fake low ink leak rumors to try and prove that the whole thing is rigged, which it actually is. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, it is it's low ink tomorrow. And if you haven't signed up for it yet and you plan on playing in this tournament, I hate you. I literally hate you. Like, you've had all this time to sign up for this tournament, and you are waiting till the very last minute to make sure that our verification staff are forced to stay up late to look up your stupid Twitter accounts and all your Battlefy information, and then anything on Smash GG that we can find there too. I literally hate you, but thanks for watching this anyways. So I guess that kind of balances everything out. But make sure if you do want to play low ink, you have if you're watching this live, you have 8 hours from now, less than 8 hours to get signed up. If you're not watching this live, you're watching this on YouTube, you have till 8 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, October the 22nd to sign up. And if you haven't, I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't come down to these last final minutes. I understand, like, some people are like, oh, I don't know if I'll be available for the entire weekend or not, or whatever. But this is usually the time where we see some really strong teams suddenly magically appear on our verification sheets. Like, oh, hey, let's see if we can just sneak into low ink at the last minute and they'll just let us in. No. This is the day where usually if you get a DM from a staff member, it's usually a gripey person on the other end of that DM. Unless you're just some new team that we don't know any information about, which happens a lot. But if you do get a DM from me, please respond back to it as soon as possible so that we can get this crap figured out. Today, if you haven't guessed, we're going to be previewing Low Ink. As of the time that I did the preview for this, we had 78 teams, I believe, signed up for it. I believe that number has gone up since then. But not every single team, but a good chunk of the teams that have signed up, I am going to talk about to some extent, including my top 10 teams who I feel like are going to win this tournament. Not all 10 of them, but I do have the number one team who you can clip this right now. I am going to tell you the team that is going to win this tournament. You don't even have to watch. I'm going to be commentating it, of course. Falco Flyer, everyone loves that guy. You don't even have to watch any of them. You don't have to watch the stream. I'm going to tell you right here and right now who's actually going to win, and you can take it and you can just... I'm going to leak the entire script of Low Ink, basically. I don't care anymore. I'm leaking everything. But first, Luti is back and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey now, my Luti's back. In the 2 seasons in the same year. What? That's strange. What is this, 2019? How did we get 2 Lutis in the same season? That is so crazy. Now, what does this mean? That's the topic of the day. What happens when Luti comes back? Well, when Luti comes back, everybody comes back. It was kind of the joke that after Super Jump ended, everybody was just like, oh, well, I'm done. This is it. I'm gone. Splatoon 3 is when you'll see me again. Otherwise, I'll never come back and I'll never be playing this game again. The meta sucks. I can't deal with the meta. Like, okay, that's your excuse for not playing the meta. All right. It seems like a cop-out, but whatever. But all of a sudden, Luti just announces a picture of Season 12, and that registration opens up on the 23rd. And just like that, ooh, +1/+3 for Luti, who wants to play with me. Would really like a team for this. Whoa, wait a minute. Didn't you say you were gone forever? It brought you back? Luti is what brought you back? Luti is known as the team killer, but all of a sudden now Luti is the team revitalizer. Fair enough. Look, everything... As long as there's something for people to do and to be excited about, they're going to keep playing this game. And that's why I've said that we don't really know what the peak... We haven't reached the peak of competitive Splatoon 2 yet. People are saying the game's done competitively, it's gone, and we should just wait. No, like Super Jump proved we haven't even scratched the surface of what Splatoon 2 is capable of in the competitive scene. And as long as there's something new popping up that gets people interested, they're going to keep playing, regardless of how much they hate 52 Gal, regardless of how burnt out of the game they claim to be. As long as there's always a carrot at the end of the stick for somebody to chase, they're going to keep chasing that carrot. And that's an awesome thing. Riptide got a lot of people excited. Oh, I'm leaving after that. Super Jump got announced. Oh, everybody's excited. Super Jump ends. Nah, I'm falling off. Luti gets announced. Everybody comes back. And when Luti ends, you're going to see the same exact thing. I'm done. Wait till Splatoon 3. The 52 Gal's just unbeatable. You can't beat a 52 Gal. It's literally impossible. So I can't play this meta. And then Super Jump 2 gets announced. And those people are going to come right back. It's just this cycle. And it's a good thing because we haven't had this many consistent things happening in a long time that is constantly bringing people back and giving people something to be excited about. It was like a Luti season, but then Luti went away, and then there's like nothing until like maybe a random cloud burst or a Triple G tournament every now and then. But now it seems like we have a consistent hype train rolling that's constantly bringing people back again and again and again, and that's exciting. I am making fun of people for saying they're always leaving and coming back, but the good news is that there's something to actually entice them to come back. That's why low level's so strong, and why everybody's envious when they get banned from low ink, and they're essentially banned from low level at that point, because low level always has something to work forward to. It's low ink. Every single month there is a low level major built just for teams in that specific category and gives them something to work towards. And there's teams that sign up for low ink knowing full well that they're not going to win it, but it doesn't really matter because they have their own set goals. We want to qualify for gamma bracket. We want to win beta bracket. We want to make we just want to make alpha bracket because that would be a huge accomplishment for our team. There's so many different subsequent goals that you can have that aren't just flat out win low ink, baby. And that's awesome. And that gives teams in low level something to aspire to every single month. And that's probably that's been the issue with mid-level and high level and the level that Starburst and FT Win are at, where if there's no prize money involved, there's no reason for them to sign up and play in a tournament. So now that we have something consistently, Luti, Super Jump, lands, all those good things coming back at a consistent basis, it helps everything across the board. Now, of course, that's not why you, the idiot in chat, is excited about Luti coming back. You care about Luti coming back for one thing and one thing only. You get a new div. Hey, that div, that number that's been branded on your butt for the past, April was 6 months ago? For the past 6 months, you've been labeled as something, and you've been defined by that something for 6 months. Now you get to get rid of that label and get branded with something else. You get a new identity, and that's exciting for a lot of people. The people who get the number that they want, and not so exciting for the people who realize they are actually not as good as they thought they were, or at least the team that they're on isn't as good as they thought it was. Is that the whole point of Luti? No. Of course not. But is that why everybody's excited about it coming back? Yeah. We're not. Let's not kid ourselves here. That's the main draw to Luti, is to get like a snapshot of where you stand in the competitive scene. But what you are really curious about, as far as low ink is concerned, is how is this Luti div going to change everything? I've said a lot. There has to be a line in the sand somewhere as far as determining who is and ain't good enough to be playing in low ink. And of course, we use Luti divs as that sort of standard line in the sand. Now, I feel like we've done a good job, low ink staff, of trying to like div teams ourselves and like updating them ourselves without like officially, like you're not officially this Luti div, but we can tell based off of your results that you would finish around this spot. And that's always kind of a tricky thing to do, and it's hard to be consistent when you're verifying teams with that kind of mindset. But that's really the only mindset that you can take with this kind of thing to try to be consistent, because it's as a low ink TO, especially for a verification team, you want to be right with everybody that you verify. That's extremely hard to do. You want to be consistent when you verify. That's extremely difficult to do, to make sure that you're consistently banning everybody at the right level and keeping everybody at the right level. What's almost impossible is to be consistently right. And at least when Luti divs are fresh and new and they come out and then there's a low ink or two right after that, it's real easy to be consistently right at that point. But when we're this far out 6 months later, that line of being consistently right becomes more and more difficult to do. Now, again, I feel like we've done a good job of that up to this point, but at least that's why I kind of say, you guys know, I harp on don't be married to your Luti divs so much, but at the same time, it's kind of hypocritical because we use Luti divs in our verification, but I kind of want to explain that, why it's still important to use regardless of how you feel about it as far as verification is concerned, because we don't really have, I don't know, there's not a better system to do it. There's just not. And none of you can suggest a system that is better, otherwise you would have done so already. It just doesn't exist. But how is this going to change? A new Luti season coming out, how is that going to change low ink? Because it did change low ink last time, didn't it? Before, this was a Div 4 and below tournament. And then Season 11 got announced. And because of the amount of signups that took place in Season 11, the goalpost had to be moved to kind of reflect what low level actually had become versus what we thought it was. So it went from being a Div 4 and below tournament to a Div 5 and below tournament. And that was the right move. What I really like about the decision we made to make the adjustment for low ink based off of the Luti divs, the updated Luti divs, is that it wasn't like an automatic knee-jerk reaction. Oh, everybody that got placed in Div 4 and above, you're gone. You're automatically out of here. Get out. No, it wasn't like that. It was every team that made Div 4 that still that was like a consistent low ink team. Like, they've been loyal to playing in low ink. They didn't just hop in like, oh, all of a sudden we got a div that says we're allowed in, so we're going to come back in. No. All those traditional Div 4 teams, we gave them an extra month to play in low ink. And then the month after that, if they weren't a playoff team, we gave them one more month as well. And then finally kind of weeded them out. So they still had 2 months to kind of acclimate to the new low ink system that we had in place. And I feel like that made low ink better for the most part. Of course, there were some teams that did get Div 4 that kind of proved they might have been overseeded a little bit, which makes sense. You're going to get teams that are going to get over and underseeded. You have 300 plus teams signing up for Luti. It's going to happen, and you have like set number of teams that have to be in each div, so it's not really a true ranking system. It's just more where you fit compared to the other teams that are in the that sign up for that specific Luti tournament. But regardless, it's still nice to have new Luti divs that we can use as a guideline, I guess is what I'm kind of getting at here. Will low ink actually change? It depends on a lot of factors. Like I said, it depends on how many teams sign up, the quality of teams that sign up. If only low ink teams sign up for this tournament for Luti, then access denied is going to be Div X, you know? It's like FT-Win traditionally doesn't sign up for Luti because there's no point. They don't get anything out of it unless there's like a huge prize pool for Div X. Starburst signed up last time, and nobody could even sniff Starburst. If it wasn't for a tree at the Reef, Starburst would have 5-0'd Radiance in Grand Finals of Div X. It wasn't even close. So like the quality of teams that sign up kind of determine where you get div'd as well. So is it fair to be over div'd just because like a bunch of teams at the top don't sign up? I don't know. But there's a lot of factors that go into play to determining how low ink would change based off of how Luti divs are pushed out. But again, my point is, I'm glad it's not a knee-jerk reaction. I'm glad we're not like overly reacting to what a Luti does, because then that makes low ink 100% dependent upon Luti, and that's a bad thing. So to be able to get to the point that we're at right now, I feel like it's good. And we're just gonna have to wait and see how the line in the sand is going to shift. I think next low ink is going to be extremely interesting. This one will be interesting as well as we talk about the preview coming up here. But still, as far as Luti is concerned, sign up if you want to. From personal experience, it's a fun tournament to play in. It can be really stressful at times. I like the strategy that goes into playing in a Luti season of knowing, okay, here's our opponent that we have this week. Let's scout them out a little bit. What weapons do they like to use? What do we think kind of comps are going to bring for these specific maps? What is our lineup going to be? How should we counter them? I kind of like that strategy that goes along into a Luti season. Some people don't. Some people like to stream their scrims every single day. And during Luti season, that's like the Pittsburgh Steelers handing the Cleveland Browns their practice. Hey, we filmed ourselves practicing this week, and we got microphones on. You can hear everything we're saying. We're just going to give this to you. A lot of people do that. So I don't know. Luti probably isn't for everyone. But it's still a fun thing to sign up for and play in. I enjoy it. I assume the most of you that have played in it enjoy it as well, unless you just got overseeded and you got put in a group where you had absolutely no hope in, which has happened to my team before as well. I will do some Luti episodes again. Last time I did like an episode after every single week. I don't think I'm going to do that again this time. That was kind of redundant and not really necessary. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'll do an episode specific to previewing the divs that I want to talk about, who I think is going to win each individual group, because that won't come back to haunt me at all. I'll do an episode after 2 weeks, just kind of like a mid-season recap of where we are. Before week 5, I'll do like a playoff scenarios kind of episode where I talk about like, here's what this team needs to do if they want to make the playoffs. This team's mathematically eliminated, things like that. Those were the episodes I did last year or last season that I really enjoyed. So I think I'm just going to do that. Maybe 3 episodes that aren't on a traditional Popcast Mondays, focusing specifically on Luti. Because it's fun looking at those things from that kind of like a sport analyst kind of perspective. Because Luti's the closest thing we have to something like that. So there you go. Sign up for Luti. Don't dodge Luti because you feel like, oh, if we get a high div, we're going to get kicked out of low ink. You should want to be banned from low ink, you idiots. That's a whole nother gripe. Which is why we're trying to change the narrative from, hey, you're banned from low ink, to get out to, congratulations, you're banned from low ink. You should feel good about yourself. And people still go to help desk to complain about it, but it's whatever. Sign up for Luti. It's a fun tournament, and you'll enjoy it. Unless you don't. All right. Now to adjust. All right. Just want to be banned from low ink? Well, just win it. If you want to be banned so bad, why don't you just win low ink? It's not hard. I did it. JPEG did it. If JPEG can win low ink, you can win low ink too. Speaking of teams that are going to win low ink, well, we'll talk about my top 10 in a second, but usually the trend has been, if I don't talk about your team at all today, you're probably going to find a way to win low ink. So maybe me talking about you today isn't going to be an easy thing. Can't win if you're banned. Yes, Kiki, you are well banned from low ink. Don't you put in an exemption request like every 4 months or something like that? You might be due to put one in. I could already tell you what the answer is going to be, though. New teams playing in this low ink. or at least newer-ish to this low ink in general. First off, Aquatic Vanguard is going to be playing in their first low ink. This won't be their first tournament, but it's their first time playing in this specific tournament, low ink. I went to my wife and I went to dinner with Pac this past weekend. Just kind of asked her what she thought about this upcoming tournament. They were excited to play in this one. Didn't really have any set expectations about what they where they wanted to land or something like that. Maybe you need like a first get your kind of feet wet first, get a first low ink in, and see where you kind of finish there before you start setting like in your mind like, okay, now I finished in this spot. So anything worse than this spot is a failure, and anything better than that spot is going to be improvement. It's that weird kind of thing. You know, there was a point where a young Destiny Troop team, where if you told us we were going to make alpha bracket, we would have been absolutely ecstatic. And then there's the point to where it's like, oh, wow, we didn't make Great White bracket in SOS. This is a total failure for us. Oh, wow, we get to win Hammerhead again. Yay. It's that weird kind of thing. It's weird how how excited you are for how well you do kind of adjust depending on how many times you actually pull it off. But it's hard to kind of go back and think about where you started out in the scene and how much you've actually grown. I'm going off on a tangent not related to Aquatic Vanguard at all, but it's cool to see a new team starting off in this tournament because you know they're going to go on that journey and have a good time over the course of many months. A couple of teams come from the Splatter Ladder tournament. First off, we got 5 Cheese Toast coming from this tournament. It's good to see. We always like seeing new teams come from the Nintendo tournaments. That's the whole point of the Nintendo tournaments. We've seen a lot more teams come in from previous Nintendo tournaments. I think it helps when it's not just excluded to the United States, but whatever. The other team coming in that we found exclusively from the Nintendo tournament, hasn't played in anything else, is literally, or the team name is literally feeding, with the word literally put in there as well. So if you play against this team and they do not feed to you, make sure you report them to help desk because their name is a fraud. This is the tournament of pickup teams, it seems. I count 7 pickup teams, or teams that we found that were obviously pickups. Sometimes it's hard to tell. It's like, oh, this is a pickup. This is a project. This is a new team. It's hard to keep up with all of you guys because you guys are constantly changing teams like you change your underwear. But I've counted 7 legit pickup teams, and I'm going to read them all off to you. And it's interesting because for the longest time, yeah, we've had like 1 or 2 pickup teams playing low ink, but we've never had a pickup team consistently threaten to try to win low ink. And it wasn't until Heroes Fan Club actually did it back in July where people were starting to realize, oh, a pickup team can win this tournament. Now, you could argue, blip pop gun, Heroes Fan Club wasn't a pickup team, it was an actual team. Yeah, didn't they just ban like 2 days after they announced they were an actual team? So, as far as I'm concerned, we're sticking to the fact, to the narrative that they were a pickup team. So could one of these teams be the second pickup team in the 2-day era to win low ink? Let's take a look. First, we got Extra Big Cheez-Its. There's a lot of interesting name with these pickup teams. Extra Big Cheez-Its. There was a thing. So there's these things called cheese nips, which sounds really gross saying it out loud. And I'm pretty sure is something I'm going to get canceled on Twitter for saying, but that was an actual thing. And for the longest time, I had it in my head that those were more delicious than Cheez-Its. But as I'm getting older and wiser, I'm starting to realize that Cheez-Its are significantly better. Regular, extra cheddar, whatever, it doesn't matter. Cheez-Its are amazing, and Cheese Nips are gross. And probably need to change the name of their brand there. Maybe that's why we can't find them anywhere. We were having a hard time finding those in general. But extra big cheese nips, made up of Wiggly Phantoms and Illumini players, I think has a legit chance of flirting with an alpha bracket spot, which is something that's very difficult for a pickup team name to do. There's also this team called JPEG. So there was a fake leak on Twitter about how JPEG is scheduled to win this lowing. Well, JPEG is actually playing in this tournament. No, not the player JPEG, but a team that is using his name and his profile pic as the logo. This is made up of former Wiggly Phantom players and also players from Legato, Tupperware, Broken Controller Gaming. How good is this team actually going to be? I want to say they can contend for an alpha bracket spot as well. I'll say that. I'm not going to say that about every single one of these teams, but I feel like the roster that JPEG is bringing here could contend for an alpha bracket spot. It would be absolutely hilarious if this team actually won lowing. And it would just be pure chaos. And I'm a big fan of chaos. I'm an agent of chaos. Nefarious, parentheses, pickup. Hey, I like that. I like the fact that they put straight up in their name, hey, we are a pickup. Just straight up in their name. It makes sense. Now, I understand why. This is the team Parias is on, and Parias has come out and said several times, like, hey, if you're a pickup, make it be known you're an actual pickup. And I agree. It's so frustrating to try to guess. Like, is this an actual team, a pickup, a project, what is this? So putting straight up, hey, we are a pickup. There can be no confusion. I like that. I don't think I've personally looked at the roster for the rest of this team yet, so I don't know where these other players are from. But still, Nefarious, technically a pickup. Chemo Mimi EDM Squad. What the hell? Okay. Outcast Ninjas, Broken Controller Gaming, and a couple of free agents, I believe, are making up this Chemo Mimi EDM squad. I'm going to make sure that I am not commentating when that team is on stream. Or, no, I guess I'll just call them squad. We'll make sure Falco commentates that team. That'll be fun. Carne Inksada Fries? What is that? Team Fries, I guess. Carne Inksada Fries. Is this something from like Taco Bell? Is that one of their like Taco Bell fries or whatever? Regardless, this is made up of Jub from Wiggly Phantoms and some friends of Jub. I think they're just playing to have some fun here. I didn't recognize who some of those players were, but got some information about them. Should be a fun team nonetheless, and I can't wait to see what kind of GIF or what kind of video Jub is going to come up with based on the results of Carne Inksada Fries. Spiced beef is what my sources in chat are telling me. Jub is the entire team. I don't know about that. We could see, though. We've had somebody ask in chat once, or in the help desk, hey, can I just play Lone Wing by myself? Like, do I actually need teammates to do this? The name of this team, quote, red is the captain, not Flowey. Please host Uwu Face, end quote. That is the name of the team. I mean, you can't get more literal than that. That gets the point across. Add red, and we want you to host. Okay, well, if you're going to go to that extent, why not just put your friend code in your team name as well? I feel like some teams have done that before. And I like that. You know, you don't have to come in. How do you guys start your Battlefy chats? First off, if I know who the other team is and we're on like good terms with them, I'll just cut out the crap. I don't say hello or anything. I just say, here's the password, join. That's it. And they just join and we play and we GG and then we're on our way. But if it's a new team, I'll try to be friendly. I'll be like, hello. What do I say? Hello, I can host if you add me. here's my friend code, here's the password. And like 99% of the time, people are like, cool, here you go. And they agree with that. So, but if your team name is literally just that, then you just cut out the middleman. You don't even have to talk to them. You can just go with that and just let them drop the password. I like that. Get your games in quickly. If the problem with Swiss is that it takes too long to see how long it gets people into the room. If your team name is literally how to get into the room, that helps move things along. The last team name, come at me as Eze. Oh, I might have mispronounced it. Come at me, Eze. Nightshade X, Colorful, and some free agents make up this pickup team name. I believe Lumina of Nightshade X is on this team as well. So you do that. People lead if you have a LAN. I have a LAN specifically for tournaments. That's why I always demand that I host. It helps make things up. So there you go. 7 pickup team names. Or 7 pickup teams. I feel like JPEG and extra big Cheez-Its have the best chance of doing some serious damage. Potential for nefarious. The others really pop off. I mentioned them here. So that works out. Other teams that I just want to mention just because I feel like mentioning them. I like talking about teams. So we got a lot of other teams that we want to talk about here. First off, the Jelly Squids. Slowly improving their way up the ladder. I'm not sure if I talk about the Jelly Squids enough. Because they've been playing in a lot of low inks. Been playing consistently. They've been improving. They were that, oh, we didn't make Gamma. Now we're making Gamma. Now we're making Beta. Now we're threatening to win Beta. They're improving a lot with each tournament that they play in. And I don't know if this is, if that is kind of shown in how much I've talked about them, because usually I like to catch teams early, but I feel like I'm not talking about the Jelly Squids enough. So wanted to give them a shout out here. Intimidation Factor, the reigning Little Squid League champions, playing in the Friday Night Frenzy tournament. I don't know off the top of my head how good they were doing in that. They seem to be getting some decent wins in it. Falling to Kingmakers, what it seems like everybody has been doing up to this point. But still, Intimidation Factor, a very strong team in their own right. I can't think of if they played in low. Now, they haven't played in it since they won Little Squid League, so we haven't seen this version of Intimidation Factor. But usually, well, actually, the trend with Little Squid League champions as of late has been that they've been decently good. Legato won Little Squid League, went on to make Alpha Bracket the next month. Maki Monsoon has been an Alpha Bracket contender when they played. They've won a Beta Bracket before. Intimidation Factor, will they get to Alpha Bracket? Will they be like a stronger team in Beta Bracket? I'm not sure. I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But still, it's exciting because Intimidation Factor's win wasn't super dominant, and there were other teams that were right with them. So we could see a new class of Little Squid League teams coming in and performing really well in this tournament. That'd be cool to see. Snowfall. I feel like some people, I know other people like to do top 10s. I feel like somebody's going to fall in love with Snowfall here. I feel like somebody's going to really hype them up. They won Gamma back in July, but I feel like they've improved a lot since then, and I've seen their name kind of being trending on Twitter as far as like low ink predictions are kind of concerned. So I feel like Snowfall might be a team I'm missing out on here, but we'll see how good they do in this tournament. What? Hammer? Oh, are you? Do not ask in help desk if a team is banned. If you would expect me to tell you if a team is banned in my chat or not. I guess it depends on what mood I'm in. Clownfish, one of the oldest teams that we have in this tournament. They made Beta back in August, so it's good to see them play consistently. They're a team that kind of plays like a month or two, and then they just fall off the face of the earth. And then they come back. So now that they're playing in consistent low inks is good. It's something to improve off of, especially since they made Beta last tournament. Will they bump themselves up to Alpha this time around? Not sure. Still, it's good to see them play regardless. You're not asking me specifically. That's fair. Blue Moon, one of my favorite generic beers. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that without the family filter on. I feel like I'm always kind of skirting the line with getting in trouble with Twitch, but it hasn't happened yet, so can't be anything bad, I'm sure. Regardless of what you think of the drink Blue Moon, they're still a pretty good team in their own right. 4-2 in August. Played a lot since then. They've been playing in a lot of tournaments since last Low Ink. Could this be a breakout tournament for them? Could Blue Moon kind of ascend to being one of these alpha bracket teams that makes a name for themselves? Not to be confused with Blue Hour. That's a different team. Not to be confused with Red Sun, which is literally a team that is the exact opposite name of Blue Moon. But Blue Moon, I think, could make a name for themselves this month if they perform really well. The Sweeping Shields. Probably one of my favorite team names that we have in Low Ink. Haven't verified them yet. They signed up, I think they signed up yesterday. And I can't remember their recent results off the top of my head, but I do know that they were improving. They were better than what I thought they were. That I could, much as what I can say. I feel like they're a beta bracket team. They did really well in their Luti season. That I remember as well. So we'll see what Sweeping Shields can do here. Don't sweep on these seals. That's for sure. Oofish. Every time Oofish plays in Little Squid League, they finish in silver bracket grand finals, whether they actually, or like the Epsilon bracket, Emerald bracket, I believe is what they finished in one time. But they're always in the bottom bracket, but they always do really well in the bottom bracket. Can that translate? Can they get over the hump? Can they finally get to a top cut, a gold bracket, if you will, in Little Squid League? Maybe a gamma bracket here, and do some damage in this gamma bracket as well. Oofish, a team that is improving, even if they're not getting the exact results that kind of justify it just yet. Okay, Woomer. This team, man, I feel like I've wanted to put this team in the top 10 before, but they're just so wildly inconsistent. They bounce around between beta and gamma, but when they made beta and gamma, they did really well in those brackets, which is one thing. It's one thing to qualify for a bracket. It's another thing to actually get wins and show up on Sunday. And OK Woomer, to their credit, shows up on Sunday and gets wins regardless of where they actually finish. Just need to see a stronger Saturday out of them. Ocean 7 is signed up yet again. This team's goal is to win Little Squid League, and they've been flirting with it a lot until it seems they just constantly trip up against some other team that kind of comes in and gets a win from them. And I'm not sure how strong they are in Low Ink, because they keep dropping from this tournament. I think they've dropped 4 tournaments in a row that they signed up for Low Ink. I don't think they might have played one actual match in Low Ink, to my knowledge. But come on, Little Ocean 7. Play in this tournament for once and actually get all the way through. So frustrating. One of the teams that beat them, INKD. Ink D, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what INKD stands for. It's all capital letters, so it has to be an acronym for something. Regardless, INKD is playing in this tournament. They were one of the teams that were upsetting Ocean 7 in Little Squid League. I don't know if we can call it an upset anymore, because we've seen INKD play in other tournaments and do decently well in them as well. Valorok, don't you do it. Don't you do it. INKD, keep an eye out for these guys. They look to be a Little Squid League contender in their own right. Another team that everyone should be keeping an eye out for, and don't sleep on these guys, Up the Ante. Second place in Epsilon bracket in Super Jump, rapidly improving. I have here in my notes that could this be a glow up tournament for them? I feel like Up the Ante is already glown up. I feel like they're already proven that they're being a pretty decently good team. Again, second place in Epsilon bracket. Yes, it was the worst bracket in Super Jump, but still, that doesn't mean that finishing second place isn't anything to sneeze at. but it's still a really strong team, and they have improved a lot. They don't need to glow up. They've already done that. I have not, Hammer Pro. I haven't done that just yet. Actually, no, I'm not. Strike that. Maybe I have. You'll just have to check the VOD and see. Snowco Inc. Beta in August was the number 1 seed in beta, actually. Missed alpha bracket by 3 opponent win percentage points. Hey, going 4-2 is rough. Sometimes it gets you into alpha, sometimes it doesn't. But Snowco Inc. could be a team that bumps up to alpha brackets. And that, in beta bracket, they lost in round 1. Of course they did. The number 1 seed always loses in round 1 of these tournaments, it seems. But regardless, I feel like Snowcone is a legit contender. We just haven't really seen it yet. Maybe this could be the month that we see it happen. Now, we got a couple of there's always like space themed teams, right? Especially at the top. But we've had like Starburst, Arctic Moon. There's got to be some team called Solar Flare, I'm sure, at some point. But how about Heaven's Moonlight? Could be the next up-and-coming improved team. I always fall in love with one team on the Popcast, whether it's ITAP or the Wiggly Phantoms or whoever, and I just talk about them every single week because they're constantly improving and they deserve to be talked about in that light. Heaven's Moonlight could be that next team. I remember them playing ITAP in a testing grounds that I commentated for it, and I remember saying, like, man, Heaven's Moonlight, I would really like to see these guys in low ink because I feel like that's where they need to be. And I feel like they've improved a lot since then. They went 3-3 in the last low ink. We'll see what they do here. Hidden Radiance of the Twilight. That is a name. Hidden Radiance of the Twilight. That's a thought-provoking name. And I'm way too old to be thinking, so I'm not going to think too much into it. BitClam, Bloons Tower Defense, and I believe Lumiere from Riptide make up this team. I feel like this isn't a new team. I feel like Hidden Radiance has been a team before, not Hidden Radiance of the Twilight. But we'll see what this team does. We'll keep an eye on them. Vaporwave, not to be confused with Microwave. Probably the match Vaporwave had against Mahi Monsoon in that little squid league. I want to say that was back in March. That was a long time ago, earlier this year. Maybe it was April. Probably a top 3 match of the year. When we do the matches of the year at the end of the year Popcast episode, of course we know what number 1's going to be. I can't think of anything that would top the number 1 match of the year. But I feel like Vaporwave and Mahi Monsoon's LSL Grand Finals was a top 3 match as well. Vaporwave's been good since then. What they kind of flirt with between Gamma and Beta, but I don't know. I feel like they haven't really reached the peak that they had in that little squid league. So it'd be good to see them kind of pop off here in this tournament and kind of make I don't know, maybe I'm just misremembering, but I still feel like they have some more ways to go to kind of erase the memory of that loss that they had against Mahi way earlier in the year and make people start remembering them for something else. GooTuber. This is I feel like I've complained about this team before because this is an acronym. I forget what the acronym is. Like Gex, it's like Gex goes to town or something like that. It was an extremely long name, but they shortened it down to just GooTuber. An LSL traditional pickup team. Good to see them making an appearance here in Lowing. Before we get into the top 10, I'm going to give a shout out to all of the teams that have ink in their name. And I'm excluding teams that have Inkling, so not Inkling technology at Purdue, but just straight up ink somewhere in their name. You got the Ink Vaders Bravo, Power Inc., Spartan Inc., Ink in the System, Ink or Swim, Inkception, Ink Bashers, Murder Inc., Ink Alliance, Partridge in an Ink Tree. That last one I just made up. But I feel like the number of Ink teams has gone down in recent tournaments. So that's good to see. People are getting more creative with their names. And those teams, most of those teams I've kind of read off have been in a team for a long time, especially Ink or Swim. I feel like that's another team that's been playing in a lot of tournaments for a long time that I just don't talk about much. We talked about Ink Bashers before. Murder Inc. That is an aggressive name. It still works with that. All right, that's enough of that nonsense. I could talk about teams all day long. You guys know that I love the low ink teams, and we keep a lot of eyes on them. But eventually, I got to stop streaming because I got a life outside of this, believe it or not. So let's move on to the top 10 and then call it a day. Before we get into the top 10, I tap bias as usual. As per the usual. What, just because I got breakfast with them at Riptide means I have a bias? Just because I was standing up and cheering for them loudly in front of everybody when they were on stream at Riptide, I got a ITAP bias? Come on. You're making a little bit of an assumption there. We're going to start this off with teams that I'm not going to mention in the top 10. So if you're just sitting here wondering like, oh, they haven't mentioned this team yet, that means they're probably really high up on the list. No, they're not here at all. First off, Fallen Inc. Oh no, I saw on Twitter that they disbanded or went on a hiatus or something like that. But regardless, Fallen Inc. is not here. Man, I loved Fallen Inc. They were making every single alpha bracket they were playing in. They were tough. Man, sucks those guys are gone. It happens though. New Rave is not here. They announced on Twitter that they got banned from, that they're officially graduated from low level. And I was like, what? I don't recall that. But then I saw what they did, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys are pretty good. Never mind. So they're not here in this low ink. The Sentinels, they haven't signed up yet. And by yet, I mean as of 11 a.m. this morning. Maybe they've signed up since then, but they're not signed up by the time I wrote this out, so they're not in the top 10. They've made Alpha Bracket 2 months in a row, I believe. Mahi Monsoon. I don't know where these guys are. I looked at their Twitter. I just wanted to make sure, like, were they like on hiatus or something? I know they got some college kids on their roster, so I didn't know what was up with that. But they haven't made a press release yet as far as what they're doing in this low ink. But they're, at least last I saw, they are not signed up. Legato is Logano from this tournament. They just said that they weren't available. I saw that they made that tweet. They made Alpha Bracket last month after winning Little Squid League leading up to that low ink. I say last month. There was no low ink last month. I'm in August. The Wiggly Phantoms. The Wiggly Ones. Beta Bracket winner in August, not playing in this one. Obviously, we know they are recruiting. They're going. They've had a bit of a roster turnover. Probably just don't have the bodies to get this tournament in, so they're not playing. Obviously, a lot of the pickup teams names that are read off there included a ton of Wiggly Phantom players, both past and present. So I think we'll see the Phantoms soon. Obviously, they just got to figure out what their roster is actually going to look like going forward. Typhoon. I saw these guys did sign up earlier today. I did actually see that. They are a top 10 team for sure if they pass verification. They've signed up super late. They're one of these teams that just didn't miss a deadline, but they missed me putting them in here. So if Typhoon actually plays, yes, they should be a top 10 team for sure. There's no debate about that. They're just not here in my top 10 list. Honorable mentions. I got 3 for you. Bad Luck Trout. My first team making the honorable mention list here. The teams that are not in my top 10, but could be. if I don't choke on my own snot. BLT's going to. They've had a bit of a roster change. Didn't really have the best super jump. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they do with this new roster. Even though they did make Alpha Bracket last time they played in Low Inc with a 4-2 result, I want to see them make Alpha Bracket again with this, with the new player they added, and see how good BLT actually is. Shiver Me Inklings are not in my top 10. I bet some other people put them in there. I can't justify it just yet. Yeah, June was really good for them. June was really good for the Pirates. That's when they went 6-0 and dominated the Swiss stage. But they didn't show up on Saturday. And yeah, they won a beta bracket the month after. But we haven't, just recently, it hasn't really been a lot compared to the other teams that I have here. So, Shiver Me Inklings, if you want to consider them my number 11 team, I think it's fair to put them in as the unofficial number 11 team. I feel like other people will put them in the top 10. I just feel like some of these other teams that I have here are just more deserving. Not a knock against them. The other team, the honorable mention, Rising Hope. Rising Hope's been stepping up their meme game on Twitter. I think the Wiggly Phantoms are starting to rub off on them. This is the team that started the leak rumor, I believe. They need to return to Alpha Bracket, though. They need to. We need to see them make Alpha Bracket before I can justify putting them back into the top 10 like I did that one time. With that out of the way, it's time for the official Popcast top 10 teams who have the best chance of winning this tournament. Number 10, Spoopa. It's Kappa. They're just changed their name to Spoopa this month because it's October and they want to be spoopy. Fair enough. But basically, Kappa here, yes, they had a bad month in August. There's no denying it. Falling to Gamma and getting eliminated from that bracket early on Sunday. But you're allowed to have a bad tournament and bounce back. Maybe you just didn't have it that weekend, needed a sub, a little brother kicked the Ethernet cable, whatever excuse I need to make to keep Kappa here in the top 10, I will. Because they are a traditionally strong low-ink team until proven otherwise. They've made Alpha Bracket several times. They've gotten really significant wins back when they were Ink Strike Inklings and when they were Kappa now and Spoopa right now. So, and again, we've seen teams really fall off the map. Just like completely bomb a low ink after being a really strong team before and then bounce back. Look for this to be a bounce back month for Kappa or Spoopa. Number 9, House or Illumini or Inkai. I don't know why they're calling themselves as a House now. If they've rebranded for a third time this year, I'm going to lose my mind. But regardless, it is basically the same roster as Illumini. So I'm just going to assume, until proven otherwise, it's Illumini. In-house is still pretty good. Deep run in Delta of Super Jump. That's good. Finishing top 4 in Silver Bracket of Riptide is good as well, including a streamed win against ITAP. Yes, we are considering Riptide results into Low Ink. Why wouldn't we? It was an actual tournament with actual players. And, of course, well, there's not going to be as much lag as what you're going to find in Low Ink, but still, Riptide was a legitimate tournament where results do matter. And Illumini did really good in that tournament. And they did get quality wins on Saturday with Low Ink consistently. The problem is, though, they have yet to win a single match in Alpha Bracket. They've made Alpha Bracket a couple of times, but they've never won a single match in it. Inkai, Illumini, House, whatever they call themselves, step 1 is getting a win on Sunday. If they can do that, then I can justify putting them higher next month, but they deserve a spot on here regardless, considering what they are capable of. They have the potential of popping off on Sunday. They just haven't shown it just yet. Number 8. I debated putting Shiver Me Inklings here, But then I looked at what Unlimited Woomy United has done recently, and I've found out they're basically just the Pirates that are just more recent. Both went 6-0 in a recent low ink. The Pirates have won a beta bracket. Uwu has won a gamma bracket. Really, the difference is, though, Unlimited Woomy United is more now. They went 6-0 in the last low ink, and being the hotter team gives them the edge this month. And they've been one of those teams that has been consistently trending in the right direction. The question is going to be, can Uwu keep moving forward, or are they going to hit the wall like Shiver Me Inklings has in the past couple of months and then just try to have to like climb their way back up to the spot to where they were? Like the Pirates, though, after having a strong Saturday, they didn't really show up on Sunday. Look for that to change this time around for Uwu, and I can justify putting them a little bit higher. Number 7. This team. Let's play a game. Guess this team. This team took A2P to a Game 5 at Riptide, only to lose that Game 5. Took Destiny Troops and Luau to a Game 3 in Super Jump, only to lose those Game 3 both times. I am, of course, talking about Inkling Technology at Purdue, who is making their first ever appearance here in my top 10, and it is well deserved with their close losses. Normally, I don't like to give too much credit to teams that can't seal the deal when it matters the most. Yes, they did lose to some quality teams here, but they couldn't finish the deal and get those wins. They are legit. They're legit. Like maybe 30 to 45 seconds of gameplay away from being banned from this low ink. That's significant. Now, they won't be facing Luau, Destiny Troops, or A2P in low ink because all 3 of those teams are banned from low ink because they literally won it over a year ago. A2P won it 2 years ago. But if they attack these other low ink teams with the same hunter attitude that they brought in those matches, they will win this tournament. It's just a matter of what version of ITAP will show up, because they deal with a lot of issues that most other Splatoon teams don't. Random fire drills, dorm Ethernet going out, losing glasses in the parking lot at Riptide. Whatever is keeping ITAP from greatness, if they can just avoid that, then I think they will win this month. I just can't put them any higher considering they haven't made Alpha Bracket since October of last year. Wow, I didn't think it was that long ago, but yeah, but they're playing consistently, they're grinding, they're on the right path. I think they'll get back to Alpha Bracket, and they do have the capability of winning this tournament. Number 6. I have a love-hate relationship with Sekis Naga. I love putting them in my top 10, and I hate where they always finish, which is usually outside of the top 10. Some months they make Alpha Bracket, others they fall to Beta. Saturday is just too inconsistent for them. They have won a Mako Bracket before against Twice, though, which is an impressive win, but they will follow that up by finishing 13th in their Swiss group and then having to drop from the tournament because they didn't make Alpha Bracket. I think, but that's still, I've kind of said I don't disown teams for dropping from Sunday because they didn't make the bracket they wanted to, but I'm not going to condone it. But I will say this. I like it when a team comes into a low ink with the attitude of, we know we're supposed to make Alpha Bracket, and we're going to attack it with it's Alpha Bracket or bust. We're not going to be satisfied with qualifying for Beta or winning Beta. We want to win this tournament, which is the attitude that Sekis Naka is bringing to this tournament, and I appreciate it. The good news for them is that they're rolling in with a full roster of 8, so hopefully they don't have to drop due to lack of active players this time around. Number 5. I think Power Inc. is here to stay as an Alpha Bracket contender for a while. They got 9th place in Alpha in August, won Beta in June, and took 4th place in Minnow Cup Rainmaker Tournament as well. All of these results I got from their new Twitter account, which you love to see from teams that have been in existence for more than a week. One result not listed in their bio, though, is their strong showing in Super Jump, where they made Gamma Bracket and got some decent wins, including one against ITAP. Not too shabby for a team that made their first Alpha Bracket last low ink. Look for them to make a return trip to Alpha Bracket and should go further than finishing in 9th place here. Number 4. Leg. Number 3. No. Leg, look, I don't have much to say about Leg, honestly. They finished 2nd place in Middle Cup last month. They've Alpha Bracket last time they played in low ink. They're fan favorite just because of their name. Whenever we put them on stream, every Leg Legion shows up in full force in chat. They're legit continuing to win. They're a good team as well. But that's all I have to say about them. It's hard to find info on Leg. You can't just put in leg_SBL on Twitter and find their team. And I feel like their roster has changed a little bit too, as we were kind of looking at them for verification purposes. So for better or for worse, I'm not quite sure who this Leg team is. But recent results prove these guys are a legit top 4 team. Never skip leg day. Is that their motto? That'd be a good team. That'd be a good team slogan for them. Number 3. Last time we saw Myopsidus in low ink, which was back in July, they finished tied for 5th in Alpha Bracket. And while they took August off, they did play in Super Jump, finishing in 4th place in Delta Bracket, which was essentially September's version of low ink, getting wins against Thimble IHOP, Rising Hope, and Farafa Stars. They didn't make top cut in Middle Cup despite going 4-2, but that's fine. What this team has is current momentum from tourneys outside of low ink. You guys know I love it when teams play in other tournaments outside of low ink, and the success they gain there often translates well into low ink, especially when they were already pretty good in low ink to begin with. Now, I might be alone in thinking they'll make Alpha because they did put up a poll in their team Twitter. Do you think we will make Alpha Bracket? And it was literally 50% until I voted and bumped it up to 52%. So, yes, I think they're going to make Alpha Bracket, even if half the people that follow their Twitter account don't. Those half are idiots. My Myopsidus is really good. Number 2. I wonder if the 2nd place curse is still in effect here for Wipeout Punks, considering there was no low ink last month, and they were the team that finished in 2nd place back in August. I'm not sure what the low ink gods have to say about that, if that kind of skips the curse or not, but it is something to take into account, considering only one 2nd place team has ever won a low ink in the next tournament. In our 3-year history, it's only happened once, and the team that did it had to make grand finals 3 tournaments in a row before they finally won it. So they got some bad juju working against them, potentially. And they got some work to do if they want to get back to grand finals regardless. Mainly, they have to win in round 1, which they couldn't do against Fallen Ink in Game 5 in August. Again, no team has ever won low ink after losing round 1 of winner's bracket. It's just too much of a drain. You don't have enough fuel in your tank, and there's no way to refuel your tank to clutch out a grand finals. Maybe their strong showing in Gamma Bracket of Super Jump is just what they need to get over that hump. But I feel like the other teams they will face have improved just as much as they have. Still the number 2 team, yes. Do I think they'll get back to grand finals? Yes. But I wouldn't be surprised if some other teams caught up to them. Number 1. And the team I am calling right now to win this low ink. Look, it's basically now or never for Access Denied. They've looked really good in Delta Bracket of Super Jump, finishing tied for 5th. Took 3rd in Minnow Cup Splat Zones tourney a few weeks ago. 4th place in Low Ink in August. And have made Alpha Bracket 4 months in a row now. No other team in this entire tournament can say that they've made Alpha Bracket 4 months in a row. They have to win it this month, though. You only get so many opportunities to knock on that door of being a champion before you decide that you either have to just leave because nobody's going to open the door for you, or you just break down the door yourself. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to be banned if they don't win. That's not how we do things here at IPL. But you can tell they're going to improve to a point real soon and get enough quality wins where they will have to force our hand. The question mark being their roster is a little slimmer than what it was before, losing a player to free agency. And as far as I know, they're rolling into this Low Ink with 4 people in their roster, which is really scary for a 2-day tourney. But with new Luti divs floating around and being kind of the high school senior, everybody's just waiting to graduate because everybody has a difficult time getting past Access Denied until it comes to clutch time on Sunday. It has to be now for Access Denied. With that being said, if I've said anything today that you don't agree with, if I mentioned your team in not the way that you wanted to be mentioned, if you feel like you were a top 10 team and that you should have been listed somewhere, or you feel like I shouldn't mentioned your team at all, prove me wrong. Pop off on Saturday and Sunday combined in Low Ink. And I will always start off, you guys know this, I always start off my Monday episode recapping Low Inks on the Popcast with an apology to everything I got incorrect. Actually, I spend the whole episode talking about everything that I got incorrect, basically by talking about the entire tournament. I catch everything. So make sure you play well in the tournament, and I'll give you the credit that you deserve on Monday. That being said, if you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, feel free to reach out to me at my socials below. Twitter at Mr_Popgun, Discord Popgun, hashtag 5882, YouTube 25 Popgun, Twitch at Popgun 25. I always get those two mixed up, but not this time around. Let's go raid fish. Make sure you sign up for this tournament. I believe exemption requests are closed at this point. I could be wrong about that. Enjoy the weekend. Play well in this tournament. I will catch it. Don't come to help desk complaining about lag.